Here we go, live on a Tuesday at 7 p.m. How are you guys? I hope you're really well. I've been really sensible tonight. I normally do something really ridiculous, like put hand cream on just before I'm about to go live, and then I've got to use the mouse, and I get stuck to it. So I've been sensible tonight. I pressed the live button, then I put my hand cream on. So downtime, these are my little downtime jobs. Putting hand cream on whilst doing a live, so that it's got plenty of time to soak in. Anyway, I'm just gibbering now. How has your day been? What's the weather like where you are? It's darn freezing here in Scotland. In fact, I caught the dog in the garden, the big dog, Diesel, throwing a piece of ice around like it was a ball earlier on, and he couldn't understand why it was melting in his mouth. It was hilarious. He is a constant source of entertainment. Anywho, it's lovely to be here with you tonight, as usual, on a Tuesday. And tonight I'm going to be talking to you about self-confidence. So as usual, for those of you that may be tuning in for the first time, at chilly weather, you're saying, yeah, it's chilly everywhere today. For those of you that are tuning in for the first time and don't know me that well, I am Mandy Nicholson, as all the branding says, and I am the Creative Genius Consultant. I'm an artist, I'm an author, I'm a creative retreat owner here in Scotland, where it's very chilly, and I help creative women to launch, grow, and scale their businesses and make more money. I am in the middle of a 5-day challenge this week. It's a big week for me. I do this 4 times a year, but I still like to keep my commitments of my weekly lives and show up consistently, because that's really important in business. And one of the things that always comes up on day 1 of my 5-day challenge, because the first activity is about this subject, is self-confidence, because it's one of the biggest things that holds people back in business, particularly women, particularly creative women. So I did a live this morning. I'm doing really well, thank you. Thank you for asking me. Somebody's just asked me how I'm doing over on LinkedIn, and I'm doing really well. Thank you. I hope you are too. So one of the things I find all the time when I'm working with creative women, it's that self-confidence to step up, step into their power, and actually take their products or service out there. So I wanted to talk through my kind of top 10 tips, observations and tips on how to be more resilient in terms of your self-confidence, and how to nourish your self-confidence in order to get past some of those things that are holding you back in business and in life. So bear with me. I did talk about this in my group this morning. If you're not in my Facebook group, Creative Genius Corner, I would love to have you. I will put the link to that under the comments in this live, so that if you want to join me, you are more than welcome. There are hundreds of creative women in there. It's a wonderful group, very active. So let's get started. What's the first thing that happens to us that actually has the biggest impact on our self-confidence? And I suppose these are in no particular order. Let's just put a disclaimer, no particular order. But the first thing I've written down, and honestly, I'm just gonna be really honest with you, like I was this morning in my group, this is how professional I am. I wrote it all down on half a bit of paper this morning, a bit of scrap paper, because I like to recycle everything. Number 1 is negative thoughts. That way that we think that's really negative. Thinking about ourselves in a negative way, thinking about the job or the business that we have in a negative way, relationships, that eats away at your self-confidence. So if you're in an unhappy relationship where somebody is not speaking to you well, maybe the boss speaks to you in a certain tone that really upsets you every time they speak to you, or your partner is not respecting you, or you're unhappy in your job, or your business is not going well, the way that you speak to yourself ends up being quite negative. You know, I'm unhappy in, this person is awful. You start to think really negatively, and that comes out in your speech. That eats away at your self-esteem, which in turn impacts on your self-confidence. Now, your self-confidence is what others see. Your self-esteem is how you see yourself and how much estimation you hold in yourself. Both are eroded if there are toxic relationships or events in your environment that are causing you to think negatively. Now, I've been in this situation before. On my third marriage, and honestly, yes, I've been married 4 times. I am better at selecting staff than I am at selecting husbands. I've said this before. But my third marriage, the way that my husband was not abusive in any way, but the way that he spoke to me was so disrespectful. And I put up with it in that marriage for a long time. But the constant chipping away of being spoken to in that manner really did have an impact on my self-esteem. And I am outwardly one of the most confident people that I know. So it can affect anybody, anytime, if things are happening around you that are causing you to think negatively. I won't tell you the negative thoughts I used to have about my ex-husband, not my late husband. He was amazing. Anyway, so negative thoughts, number one, how can you flip them? How can you change them? How can you change your environment or your relationships so that you don't have them, or that you can improve them? Which leads straight into the second point I wanted to make, which is your network. So surrounding yourself with positives will help to build your confidence. And I don't just mean positive people, but positive people are really important. But positive environmental actions. So I used an example this morning in my group when I was talking about this. I absolutely adore walking my dogs. My big Saluki woke me up at 5:23 this morning, and I still get out of bed with a smile on my face because I love that first hour of the day where I'm walking around the park, even in the dark, with my headlamp on. Listening to the river flow past the park, watching the dog play with his tennis ball with the light on for about 40 minutes. It really helps my confidence. It makes me feel good. I'm putting myself in nature in a nice environment with two beings that I love in the dogs that I have. I surround myself with positive people. So this is it can become part of your strategy for improving your self-confidence, is surrounding yourself with the right people, the right activities, and giving time to the things that make you feel good, going to the places that make you feel good. So your network and your environment are really important. Number 3 is boundaries. Learn to say no. One word, no. Put boundaries in place. Do not let the time thieves come into your life and steal your valuable time and make you feel overwhelmed, stressed, and all of those things have a negative impact on your self-confidence. So if you feel like people are not respecting you, they're stealing your time, they haven't got respect for your time, if you don't find the power in you to say no and put some boundaries in place, it's almost like you then become a critic of yourself for not being brave enough or not being courageous enough to do that. So find the power in you to say no to people who steal your time. Number 4 is self-care. Looking after yourself. What do you do that makes you feel really attractive? Maybe it's having your hair done. Every fortnight, I get my lashes and brows done. It's in my diary. It's a rock. It never moves. I will always go to that appointment because I feel better when I've had my lashes and brows done. It's a regular thing for me. For some people, it's nails, hair. It's maybe going out buying a new outfit. What is it that you do? Maybe it's a massage for self-care. And do you do it regularly? And is it in your diary as an immovable thing? Because it's really important, if you want to improve your self-confidence, that you treat yourself well. And that small investment every other week or once a month even can help to boost your self-confidence and help to make you feel better about yourself. Number 5 is body language. Because as an NLP master, I know the importance of body language. So how do you deal with what your body language looks like? Because what you give, you are likely to get back. And I've got a tip for this, because what's really good is if are you closed? Do you look down? Are you not making eye contact? Are you sitting with arms folded? Or do you have a bit of a scowly face? Do you know any of this? I'll tell you what I used to do, what I still do. 3 years ago, when I started my business, I opened a private Facebook group, and I call it Testing for Lives group. I'm the only member of that group. And what I did then was I used to go in and practice my lives in that group. I'd go in and do a live as if I was talking to other people, watch it back and have a look at my facial expressions, my body language. Did I use my hands too much? Did I scratch my hair too much? It was a really good way of watching how I am on camera, and the act of practicing that helped me to do the same in real life. Honestly, I've still got that very first live that I did in that testing group 3 years ago, and it's hilarious. That's all I'm going to say about that. But body language is important. So if you are open, you are making eye contact with who you are talking. I'm making eye contact with you now, looking directly into the camera. Are you smiling? Are you approachable in your body language? Because if you are, this is what you're going to get back, and that's going to make you feel better. It's going to improve your self-confidence. Number 6, go and do something really brave. Doing something brave and stepping outside of your comfort zone will give you a sense of achievement and euphoria, and a physiological reaction as well as a psychological one that's going to make you feel more confident. Now, you do not have to go and march over the border. You do not have to go and do anything big. It might be a small thing. It might be just doing a live for the first time. You might feel really brave if you find the courage to do that very first live that you've been putting off for a long time. Or maybe you go and introduce yourself to a couple of shop owners on your local high street. Or maybe you go to your very first networking meeting on your own. Go and do something brave this week and give yourself a huge pat on the back. You will feel really good if you do that. Number 7 is I want you to address your inner critic. Okay. We all have an inner critic. Yeah. You're not good enough. You can't do that. You'll never manage that. You'll hear that voice playing in your head. What I want you to do is listen and ask yourself, whose voice is it that I'm hearing when my inner critic is talking to me? Now, it could be a narcissistic parent. It could be an obnoxious teacher or coach or trainer from the past that's been really critical of you. Whose voice do you hear when your inner critic is telling you that you are not good enough? I want you to notice that and listen to that and try and identify who it is you're hearing. And when you've done that, I want you to say, look, thanks for showing up and thanks for your feedback. It's a gift, but I've got this. I know what I'm doing and I'm going to do it anyway. Now, that's a big thing to do, because your inner critic may have been playing to you since you were a child. Your inner critic could come from childhood and has been there all your life. But until you address it and acknowledge it and then wave it goodbye, it's always going to be there, but you can squash it. You can minimize it. And when you do that, your self-confidence will be boosted considerably. Number 8, my favorite, is setting goals. Set yourself some goals. If you don't want to set big business goals yet, don't. Set some small goals that are achievable for you now. Set some personal goals before you move into business goals, but set some goals, because the act of ticking off that goal and saying, I've done this, is a huge confidence booster. I call it plan, do, review. Plan is set the goal. Do is go and do it. Review is go and have a review of it. Give yourself a pat on the back, put a big tick in your diary and say, well done, Mandy. What's the next goal? It's a way of behaving that can actually start to build and nurture your self-confidence. All of these things that I'm talking to you tonight are about building and nurturing your self-confidence. Nobody's going to do it for you. This is your responsibility. Nobody's going to come and wave a magic wand and you will become really confident overnight. It's your job to go and look at all these areas and start to build and nourish yourself. Number 9, and I want you to do this for me tonight. If you are watching, I want you to go and do this. I want you to fall in love with yourself. Fall in love with yourself, truly, madly, deeply. I want you to go and find the things that you truly love about yourself. What do others love about you? Go and have a look. I have always hated my thin, straight hair. My sister has lovely, thick, naturally wavy hair, and I've always wanted it. And it's taken me into my 50s to fall in love with this thin, straight hair and find the positives in it. And the positives are it's lovely and soft. It feels like baby hair. And I'm blonde, so it's not been difficult going grey. I'm kind of blonde grey at the moment, but it's not been a difficult transition for me. And other people love my hair. So it's been about falling in love with the cards that we've been dealt, the hand that we've been dealt in life. It doesn't matter. Don't listen to the inner critic. Fall in love with yourself. Maybe you are a really good cook and you make delicious food. What's not to love about that? I love people who can cook. Who doesn't love a good meal or a nice piece of cake? Fall in love with yourself. Fall in love with your really big skills that you can add value into life and business. And when you can start doing that, that builds your confidence and that's transferable into your business. That's your big task for tonight. And then finally, number 10 on my 10 points of how you can build and nurture your self-confidence is be grateful for what you have right now. Be grateful for that thin, straight hair. Be grateful for the home that you live in, the business that you've built, and be helpful. Go and share content that can help others. Go and reach out to somebody. Be kind. Because the act of being kind and helpful and being grateful for what you have builds the confidence that you need. Because when you can say it's okay to have what I've got, it's okay to be where I am, I'm going to go and reach out and help somebody else. It will come back to you tenfold when you do that. Be helpful, be kind, and be grateful. All of these things that I've talked you through tonight will have an impact on your self-confidence if you do them mindfully and with intent. Set the intention that you are going to try and improve how confident you feel so that you can show up confidently in life, so that you can show up confidently in business. And when you can show up confidently in life and business, guess what? You're going to make more money, you're going to make more friends, things are going to get better for you. Do not sit and feel and listen to that inner critic and talk negatively to yourself. Try and fix those things. Only you can do that. So I hope this has been if nothing else, a reminder for you tonight of your power and how amazing you are. And remember, your one task tonight is to go away and fall in love with yourself. I will see you all again next Tuesday. I will put the link to my group, Creative Genius Corner, at the bottom of the comments on this live on all platforms so that you can come and join my group if you are not already in there, because I would love to have you in there. And go away tonight and remember, you are amazing. Be confident with who you are because you are already amazing. Bye for now. Have a wonderful week.